Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be my monthly update for Project 10 Uses. So that is a project I do here on my channel where I focus solely on the single shadows in my collection and I try to use them 10 times. I just want to finally give some love to my single shadow collection and see what I think of them. Most of these I've never even touched or used. So sometimes I declutter them, sometimes I fall in love with them, just find new ways to love and use my single shadow collection. So if that sounds good to you, if you want to see my update, then make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I would love it if you stuck around, but let's talk about my color story and my usage and where I'm at for all these shades. All right, so as usual, all the makeup that I'm wearing is going to be listed down in the description box below, but I like to have 5 shadows at any given time during this project. So I usually have 2 mattes, 2 shimmers, and then 1 that's in a single component, not a Z palette. For example, the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize. This is the one that was randomly generated the last month, and it is in the shade Oyster Pearl. So I will swatch all these out, and I do have this on my eyes today. We'll go over my full eye look later, I guess. This is really pretty. It was already open to my collection, so I did have some use on it. And this past month, I used it, let's see, 8 times. So that's where I'm at for my single component. It is just such a pretty taupe shade. One of my favorites. I hate that it's one of my favorites. I'm kind of feeling a certain type of way about Charlotte Tilbury. I don't know. I don't know why. I'm just being cranky, I think, but it's kind of irritating me that she's pricing her palettes at $60 for not very much a luxury palette. I don't know. I feel a certain type of way about it, and I'm feeling that way until I just get over it for whatever reason. But here is this one. So this is not going to roll out just yet. I have 2 more uses. I did consider rolling this out and not rolling it out, but rolling a shade to replace it while I got 2 uses, because 1 month for 2 more uses is not a lot. I'm definitely going to have this as a rollout next month. But the thing is, I have a lot of eyeshadow projects. I recently introduced a No Pan Left Behind project onto my channel. So I'm trying to use every single pan of eyeshadow in my eyeshadow palettes once, and that's a lot. So I do want to keep this in. I'm not gonna roll something else. I'll roll in something next month, but for now this one's gonna stay, and I have 2 more uses on it. Then I have my little mini Z palette. So this is where I keep the 2 mattes and 2 shimmers. Let's look at the Colorstory. Here's what it looks like. And I got pretty lucky with a fairly cohesive color story. Last month was a complete refresh. So these are all brand new shades. They've only been in here for 1 month. Let's start with the shade from Sydney Grace. This is Honesty, and it's kind of like a dirty peach. Now this shade surprised me because I thought it was just going to be a little bit lighter, I guess. It is more mid-tone, at least on my skin tone. So I had a little bit of a harder time using it than I anticipated. It's fine. Like, I actually really like this shade. Here it is swatched out. I just thought this was going to be a slam dunk, no-brainer, was going to get my 10 uses, be able to roll it out. But I was not able to do so. I've only used it 6 times in the past month. So this will be staying in. I need another 4 uses on it. The next one that I have is from Give Me Glow. I have the most Give Me Glow and Sydney Grace single shadows, so you see those in my project a lot. But this is the shade Cruel Intentions. And I'm wearing this one today as well. So I have the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize as a base, and then I'm using Cruel Intentions to kind of deepen up the outer crease here. This was my surprise for the last month. I really, really enjoyed this shade. I did not think that I was going to enjoy it so much. And that's because, like, this is a very heavy swatch, but it is such a buildable formula. it is actually like, if you just do a very thin, light layer with a fluffy brush, it looks pretty light on the lid. So it's the perfect deepening out shade for me personally. It's good for a beginner. I don't know if Give Me Glow still has this shade. I know they went down in pan size, thank God, because these are huge, but they also, I think, are kind of like redoing their formula. So I don't know if you can get this shade anymore, but it's really, really nice. I like deepening it up on the outer corner. This is my favorite look that I've done with my Colorstory so far, but I'm not using Honesty. I'm only using 3 shades. So again, we'll go over it. But surprising win for this shadow. I thought it was going to be my least favorite, and I would say it's one of my favorites that I had. Then we go into, let's go over my usage. My usage, 5, 6, 7, 8. I use this 8 times in the past month. So again, I have 2 more uses to go on this. It will be staying in for the next month. Now let's go on to my shimmers. So I have another Sydney Grace here, and this is in the shade Vamped. Now I thought this was going to be one of my favorites, and it is not. The thing about this shade is, here's the swatch. Maybe it's me, because I think the thing is, I like kind of in my mind expected this to be a shimmer. It's not even a shimmer. I almost would categorize this as a satin. So it's not a metallic, it's not a shimmer, it has no sparkle. It's also very, very dark. I used this 5 times in the past month, and I've been giving this a lot of thought. I was thinking, you know, I'll get my 10 uses and then declutter it, but I'm actually going to just declutter this today. I don't enjoy this shade. It's just too dark for me. If this had sparkle, if this had dimension, if this had more to it, I would like this shade more, but it's so pigmented. It gets out of hand really easily. Like this Cruel Intentions I can build up. Like I said, it's very user friendly. For me, I just can't really work with this shade, and I don't see the point in keeping this around. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing this project, is to find out if I can pare down my collection at all. And I know I can find a better home for this shade. So unfortunately, Sydney Grace Vamp is going to get decluttered, and I'm going to roll in a new single in its place. The next one that I have, my very last shadow to update you on, is a Clionadh, my first Clionadh that was finally pulled into here. I was getting a little sick and tired of the Sydney Graces and the Gimme Glows. Like, I do have other singles, but they just don't get pulled. This is the shade UV, and I am wearing this on my eyes. So Charlotte Tilbury Ice Mesmerize's base. I used this in the outer corner, and then I used UV kind of on the inner third of my lid and the inner corner. Love this shade. Luckily, I got a shadow that has like a purple base to it, this iridescent purple, and it went perfectly with my Colorstory. Man, this is so pretty. It is just so pretty. I got some good use on this. The imprint's pretty much worn away. I'm fairly light-handed with my makeup, so it takes me a while to show some usage on my shadows. I did use this 10 times, the 10th being today, so this is going to roll out. But here it is swatched. Oh, it makes me swoon. It is not shimmery, sparkly, but it has like that, I hate to say it, I just realized what I was about to say. It has that UV effect. I wonder why they named it UV. So it has like that backlight effect, which is so, so stunning. It just transforms at anything. I tried to layer it on top of this Vamp. That was actually one of the first ways that I used these shadows one day. And let me just show you what that looked like. It just still was like a lot. My husband, I think I scared him because this UV shade is so just bright and backlit. I like walked up to him and he was like, whoa. Because it just took that shade and just super bumped it up. It was glowing off my lids. I don't really go to raves, guys. If I was to go to like a rave or some kind of like club, then maybe I would keep these, but it is so neon. it is fun. I will give it that. Like, this is fun, but it's not me. And I'm sure that I can find a different dark purple shade to layer UV on if I really want to. So it doesn't change my opinion on decluttering Vamp, but I had a lot of fun with UV. It reminds me of a shade in the ER Lands of Enchantment palette, Love Language, and that makes me really happy because that palette I'm not right now showcasing on my channel. So this is like a good replacement for that. And yeah, I'm so happy that this kind of got rolled in. I cheated a little bit because I initially rolled in a ColourPop single, but I didn't know if I actually had that. So I rolled in a backup and then I just vetoed the ColourPop and pulled this. So yeah, I have two rollouts, this one as well as the Vamp that's getting decluttered. The Cruel Intentions is staying in for 2 more uses. And then Honesty is staying in for 4 more uses. And Charlotte Tilbury, 2 more uses as well. So now we get to the fun part. I am going to roll in 2 shimmers. I like to use my Tiny Decisions app on my iPad here. So let me screen record. This time I'm actually going to screen record because last time I did not do that when I did my Would I Repurchase. I accidentally did not press screen record. So let's do this. We have a lot of options to choose from. And let's just see what our first one's going to be. I'm excited to get a new Colorstory. So we have MAC Mulch. I think that's kind of like more of a satin as well, but that's okay. I think it's kind of like a bronzy color. At least it's not a Gimme Glow or Sydney Grace. There we go. Gimme Glow, Coconut Slushie. I think that's like a really icy shade as well. Okay, I am going to go pull those 2 shadows and then we'll look at the new Colorstory. I got my shades. I was right. We have a pretty neutral Colorstory for the next month. That's okay. Maybe it's an easy win here. So this is the new Colorstory. New, old. Let's go over the shades one by one. So we already know about Honesty, which I need 6 more uses on. No, I have 6 uses. I need 4 more uses on. Then we have Cruel Intentions, which I need 2 more uses on. Here is the first shade. So this is MAC Mulch. It is, I'm a little bit afraid for this shade because it does seem kind of like a satin. Here it is here. So it's this one here. It seems very similar to Vamp, just in formulation. It's not really metallic. It's not really too shimmery. It just might not be what I'm really into right now. I'm going to give it a shot, see what I think. Maybe it'll be okay because it's a neutral, but I don't have high hopes for this one. And then the 4th one that I have is Give Me Glow Coconut Slushie. That is this one here. Much more gold than I was remembering. I thought it was going to be a little bit more icy, very summery, very bronzy. I think it'll really help me get my uses on Honesty here. So I kind of have this really warmer Colorstory than last month with all these purples. So I still kind of have this Oyster Pearl that kind of stands out, but that's okay. I can use other things on top of it. I think it'll be pretty easy to get these 2. Now, if I have time to actually use those shades on top of my No Pan Left Behind project, that's a whole nother story. But I think it's not going to really push me out of my comfort zone. I think I'll be able to come up with some pretty easy looks with this. Maybe I'll try to challenge myself, do something outside of my comfort zone, but that's what we have. That's okay. They all get used, and I definitely have a type. I mostly pick neutrals, so it's really on me for getting the same type of single shadow over and over again. Anyways, this is where I'm going to leave you all. That's my update for Project Pan 10 uses. Let me know if you're doing some kind of project with your single eyeshadows. There's so many projects out there, but specifically focusing in on single shadows, because I know that I'm not the only one who maybe neglects their Z palettes. But this is where I'm going to leave you all. I hope you're having a great one, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.